A very good morning to everyone present here. We're going to be talking about the art of reinvention on the OTT, and I am so lucky to have the most apt panel here. Let's give it up for Karishma Tanna, who's riding high on the success of Scoop or the scoop of success, however you have it. We have Varun Sopti, what a versatile actor, massive fandom, and so many awards coming in. Asur Season 2, Kora, much talked about. You have Aditi Rao Hydri. What can I say about her? She's so ethereal, luminous, a movie star. And you both have a Jubilee Connect as well with Amazon Prime Video. You have Dia Mirza, an actor, an activist, a producer. She wears all her causes on her heart right there. Thank you so much for joining us, Dia. And we have Nikhil Madhok, who's the head of original content at Amazon Prime Video India. They're rep by his very enthusiastic team. They're everywhere. All right, so let's kickstart this off with slightly controversial question, right? Now with the advent of OTT and especially the boom of Instagram, earlier we used to call them movies, TV shows. Now everything is content. How content are we with this term content?
Let me go with the tough one first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I'm more comfortable with the term stories because it's stories that we're telling, and we're in the business of storytelling. Actually, content is also sort of definition used, but what we'll end up doing is compelling original stories which are brought to life with this amazing talented cast of people, actors and actresses. So that's the way I look at it.
Any supporters for the term content?
At the moment I heard that, I was like, +1. Because it's like so important that content kind of makes it almost clinical, and stories makes it like you're telling a story, whether you tell that story in whatever language you choose, whatever region, whatever platform, you're telling people a story, and all we want to do is go and sit in your heart. And for you to just keep us with you and keep coming back to us for more stories. So it's like as simple and childlike almost as that. I feel, yeah.
Since you mentioned social media, I'd like to just add to what Aditi and Nikhil have said. I feel like social media has really empowered activism. It is stories that are driving change. I think we would not have been able to advance in so many spheres of life. We would not be able to advance social justice the way we're able to. We wouldn't be able to sensitize people the way we've been able to if it wasn't for social media. So I feel like the power of storytelling, whatever the format may be, has the ability to truly make a big difference.
You have harnessed the medium of social media, even OTT, so well in terms of representation, be it Kafir or even the latest season of Made in Heaven. Do you find it important to put a message to the story?
Well, I've always found resonance in intentionality. I feel that I'm always drawn into a narrative or a story when I know that the story can make a difference. And I feel like those then are the kind of stories that seek me out as well. Even with Dhak Dhak, the kind of themes that we've addressed in the film, and we've done it so quietly and so beautifully without screaming feminism or being loudmouthed or abusive or aggressive. I think it's just so important for us also. I'm sure everyone here agrees that storytelling is the most powerful tool for social change. While you entertain and educate, you also give people the opportunity to be strengthened and informed and feel love. It's just so important to feel love.
Absolutely. But coming back to social media, I do have two very big stars who are very popular on social media as well. Karishma and Varun, would love to hear your thoughts. Content or stories? What do you think?
When it comes to social media, I think content, because if you make the right kind of content, there's a lot of recognition. You see a lot of influencers who are right there, who people know, is because of the content they create, So I think when it comes to social media platform, content is very, very important, and content is the king. And when it comes to OTT platform or film, then I think storytelling is more important, because how you take audience with the story, how you, kind of take them with you in the story is very, very important. You have to be engaged when you are performing as an actor, and you have to keep the audience also engaged. So I think storytelling when it comes to OTT and films is very, very important.
Aptly summarized, and that's a great differentiator there as well. Barun, would love to hear from you.
I don't have a particular beef with any kind of word, to be honest with you. I'm okay with a story or a piece of content that touches my heart. So, but yeah, content has obviously come into prominence way too much after social media came on. Yeah.
Fair. Another question that I have for all of you is, can you tell me about one moment when you thought in your journey that you thought, all right, this is really pivotal for me in terms of what OTT has offered me, as in terms of being a differentiator from the other mediums that I have worked in, be it television or be it films. What was that one moment where you realized, okay, this is a very unique platform with its own sets of rewards, perks, and recognition?
You mean the art of reinvention?
Yes, exactly.
We've come from TV, Barun and I. So,
Of course, we know. सास क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी OG, and then you have इस प्यार को मैं क्या नाम दूँ? Yeah. Look at that. Do you have that sort of fandom on OTT? Can you match that?
we are very grateful. I think he will also agree to this fact that we are very grateful for OTT to come our way, because we were like in between. When you're done with TV, when you want to grow in life, there every actor gets this saturation point in life where you don't know now what next to do, and you want to grow as an actor. You want to show your talent more and more. So there was nothing for me. I was definitely trying for films and all that. But when OTT came, it just changed the life of every actor's career. I mean, we got the platform, we got that acting satisfaction, the content satisfaction we got. And I am just forever grateful to whoever created OTT platform for all the actors. Even film stars, they want to experiment different stories, challenging roles on OTT platform because they think it's potential. It has a lot of potential. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
And you've also done some fabulous work there
Thank
in
you.
the OTT.
Yeah, it was a nice time for OT to come into existence in my career. It's pretty evident, isn't it? Even the format of say, telling your story in 2 hours, or telling your story on a daily show, which goes on forever. I think the long format, the 8 episode thing, is working out really, really well for at least the Indian stories to be told. So I think it's a great time. Yeah.
Aditi Rao Hydari had Taj divided by blood. She had Jubilee, and now she has Hira Mandi coming up with none other than Sanjay Leela Bansali. Look at that. Aditi, especially with you, you've worked with filmmakers like Vikramaditya Motwani and now Sanjay Leela Bansali. A lot of times there's this misconception that one has to compromise on an OTT platform, be it quality or the kind of filmmakers you work with. But look at that, you have the best working with you.
No, no, no. There's actually, I don't think anybody has this misconception. No, yeah, I don't think so at all. Because again, to go back to your first question and what Nikhil sir said is that it's stories, and it's about who is telling those stories. It's about the team that is making those stories and what platform they end up on. That is the journey of that film, that story, that team, that whatever. But I feel like, in fact, to go back to the question that you first asked, I was one of those, oh, movie, cinema, big screen. I want to be on the big screen. And then suddenly lockdown happened, and I was shooting back to back Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam. And I remember just before the lockdown and just before everything shut down, I had a Tamil film that released in the theater, and it was a huge hit. And I remember going into the theater and watching it and the response, and then cut to lockdown. And then I was told that my Malayalam film that I was really looking forward to, which was a love story, was going to go on to Amazon. And of course, there were waterworks, tears, crying. Oh my God, this is not fair. And then it happened obviously because I was like, no, I cannot be selfish. Like there are so many people involved, and this has to go the route it has to go. And we're also in the lockdown, and I was told that people are waiting for content, etc., etc., etc. So I was samjhaud. Then I kept quiet, and I went with the flow. And then this film released on Amazon Prime, and my God, the kind of love and the like across the world, the people who saw that film, I was getting messages from people from all kinds of countries, reels that were being made on the songs which they don't even understand the language, and so many every day I was getting like 30, 40, 50 reels literally, and portraits being made, and it was really amazing. And I was like, and I told myself, you're such a silly girl, how stupid are you? It's not about where that film goes, it's about the people who make that film, and it's about where that, it's about reaching people, human beings. It's about stories reaching human beings, and whichever medium it reaches through, via, that doesn't matter. It's just about reaching as many people as you can, and for them to love you and remember you. So what was your question to me?
No, it's but whatever it was, you answered it beautifully.
Oh, okay,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Aditi.
Bye.
Speaking about reaching people's hearts and staying there, Diya said, "Rehna hai tere dil mein," and she's been there ever since, right? But then I've noticed that in your journey, there's always been an endeavor to be authentic, and you continued that even with Kafir, which was your OTT debut. It was such an important story about the struggle for identity and also a very brave choice. So I find the decisions you've made have stayed the same. So how would you say the platform has been different?
Oh, for me, OTT was a lifesaver. I think I'd waited very many years to be able to get the kind of part and the kind of narrative I was able to be a part of with Kafir. It was so timely. It saved my life, quite literally. And I think what OTT did for a lot of women and people, but a lot of women and artists who were waiting for the opportunity to really, really, invest themselves into something that was meaningful, was powerful. It's democratized the system. It gave OTT has given so many artists across faculties an opportunity to really, really showcase their skills, and it was I mean I don't know, I did Kafir at a time where no mainstream actors weren't really doing OTT.
2019 it released.
Yes, it had just started, and just feeding off what Varun said as well, to get a full length part where the character is explored over 8, 9 episodes, where you're telling 6 hours of story, and you can really get into the layers and the nuances of a person's journey. And I mean, it was soul stirring work. It was the kind of work that you own with every iota of your being. And then that translates, and that's what connects with the audiences. So it's been, I think OTT has been a miracle we all were waiting for to happen. And I know there are a lot of us who love the large screen experience. The big screen has its magic, but the convenience and the comfort and the intimacy of people watching a story on their mobile screens or in their televisions at home is unparalleled. And of course, the other thing that Addu said, which was reaching wider audiences, like I know that while Dhak Dhak has had such a limited release right now and is getting so much love, but when it lands on a platform, it's going to go to 180 countries, which was would be unimaginable for us 20 years ago. So I think that's the most positive thing about platforms.
Even taking off on that, right? Because OTT has such a global platform, global reach, how do you make content that caters to the Indian audience while keeping the international reach in mind?
This is a great question and something that we've grappled with. And over time, what you've realized is if you. Yeah. Uh, what you've realized is that if you are true to saying Indian stories, authentic stories in the way that we can say them, that makes it unique for international audiences. the moment you start trying to copy a narrative which was created in the West, yeah, they that they can do much better, and it doesn't seem unique as much. But when you pick up stories which are so true to our culture, which are Indian, music plays such an important role at times. Those kind of stories we see traveling outside the country in a really meaningful way. So today, roughly about 25% of our original movies and shows get viewership from outside India. And these are not, I mean, the 25% of the viewership is from people who are not residing in India. And these are not just Indian diaspora, these are people living in Spain, in South America, in Germany, who are just sort of, and many other countries, who just are, discovering this content and absolutely loving it. And if you're true to what we do well, the world is there to watch it. And as Dia said, today, on the day and date of release, we release our movies and shows in about 240 countries and territories on the same day. So the instant access is quite unbelievable. In fact, earlier this year when we launched Farzi, in the opening weekend, it got viewership from about 170 countries and was trending in the top 10 lists in about 20 odd countries. So that is, that is.
That is quite something for 25% of your audience to come from outside India. Not most people won't speak the language. Not discounting our huge NRI population, but absolutely, that's quite some numbers. So, considering all of you have done such amazing work on the OTT, was there a moment when you were like, "Oh my God, this person from this country has texted me this"? Did you ever have that sort of moment?
Yeah, I think all of us. Yeah, Tunisia and
Germany,
Germany. Yeah,
Iran.
Germany, France. Quite often you'll see even on Instagram, like in other languages. Sometimes I can't identify which language it is, and it's instant that day. So it's really really amazing.
And there's a lot of recognition as well, right? Karishma, you got an award at the Busan International Film Festival very recently. Was Scoop? Congratulations. Barun, he's got multiple awards for Asur, season 1, season 2, Kora, so much you've been talked about. You know, so the kind of recognition that you get on OTT, right? What are the sort of perks and rewards associated with that?
Yeah, it's a great validation, I would feel. When you're recognized for your acting, internationally also, globally also. So when I went to Korea and when I was sitting with the Asian pop stars and actors, it was very overwhelming, and it was a great feeling to be amongst them, talking to them, they listening to me, and they knowing my name was a different feeling. So yeah, that validation is very very important. I think that is what is the biggest perk for me, to just feel validated in the industry.
You are somebody who has reinvented herself time and again. She was an actor. She started off with Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. She was a very popular anchor, then such a popular reality show star as well. Seen her across shows, Khatron Ke Khiladi, she was a winner. So OTT is yet another reinvention phase for you. What's next?
I hear that a lot, that Karishma, this is your reinvention, and I feel good that, whatever it is, I am going on and I am there and I am doing what I like and I'm getting the kind of roles which I want to do, because every actor is hungry for a very challenging, a very good role. It's a rush we get, which I don't think so anybody will understand that. We want that that validation, we want that continuous rush, that to prove ourselves, to have a very good character or to play, so I think that's a beautiful feeling which we feel. Again, what was your question?
Forget it. You guys have some great answers, better than the questions.
You understand, we just get very lost in our answers.
I'm also lost in your answer currently. So I'm wondering what's the question. Doesn't matter.
Basically, she's forgotten the question.
Guys are so beautiful. I'm just looking at them talking. They're
busy
so
reinventing.
articulate. Can you blame me? Come on. I'm very invested in your answers. Barun, you are doing a plethora of work on the platform, right? Absolutely everywhere that we see you. Any worries of overexposure on OTT?
पहली बार तो exposure हुआ मेरा यार. Not overexposure. Yeah, but I know this is the kind of conversation that pops out of uh, uh, like empty mind is a devil's workshop kind of a thing. So no, I don't know. I'm just going with the flow.
But you don't feel like there might be a like quantity sort of
Yeah,
dilemma
what I
there
feel
happening,
actually
problem
doesn't
of
matter,
plenty.
to be honest with you. Or like when Karishma was saying that we like we get this rush when we get the characters that we wanted to play. It's a very simple thing. As humans, if someone desires a gold coin all of their life, and eventually when they get the gold coin, they will have the same rush. So we desire good roles and good characters to play. So when we get those, we get the rush. So to be honest with you, at that time, my mind is not thinking about news or what's going to happen. I just want to play that characters once in a lifetime opportunity for me.
Okay, fair enough. You're living in that moment. Another question that I had, and I think yes, go ahead.
I think also as artists, we tend to get like if we overdo it or we feel like a burnout, we tend to see it, witness it with ourselves and say, okay, it's time that I step back a bit, took a bit of a break, did something that kind of re energizes my soul and makes me feel a little more alive. And I'm not feeling stuck like a hamster on a wheel. And that really helps because then you're compelled to and constantly pushed to reinvent yourself. And I feel like for me especially, I started working in the film industry in the year 2000, and 23 years on, if I'm able to give something new or bring any novelty to my job, it's only and purely because I see it and I feel it when I know that I'm getting stuck somewhere. And I'm like, no, 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 I need to change things around. I need to flip it around. I have to go away for a bit. I have to live a little to be able to give a little more.
Even as a producer, right? You did Mind the Malhotras. Would you? Can we expect more offerings from you on the OTT platform?
Absolutely, we're busy developing stories, but it's very hard right now. Nikhil will agree that we're going through a very rough patch for content creation. A lot of the stuff that has been made already is getting released as we speak. New content is finding it much harder to get made at this given point globally. Stories are in a bit of a conundrum.
But it's a great time for us viewers, right? Like, there's so many stories in the pipeline
So
that
many
have been made.
choices and options, but for producers, it's a little bit of a hard patch.
It's a viewers market, guys, so we can rejoice for sure. But I have to bring this discussion to a draw. Unfortunately, a time's running out. I just have one quick last question for everybody. World over, it's called streaming, but in India, we only say OTT. Why is that?
The word OTT means over the top, and this is a legacy word many years ago when it was basically over the top of the cable that was laid on the ground. So you're not sending content through those pipes. It's actually going digitally over the top. That's how it came into being. And streaming is just actually the correct way to address it because the format in which you're watching it, you're not going to a cinema hall and watching, you're streaming it at home. So that's the way the content is watched, but the distribution medium is still called OTT. I just want to address one more thing that from your previous question. I think the number of stories which are being made and high quality stories which are being made, it's great news for the industry, right? Because the more content and more stories are made, it's opportunities for everybody. It creates employment, and more importantly, it provides a lot of choice for viewers. It's a very diverse country, India, and if you get diverse stories of your liking, it's great. So that's a good part, and I think it always doesn't mean that the same people will be doing many shows in a year because it takes a lot of time and investment. It also means that new talent will get opportunities when new shows show up. So it just constantly expands the pool of talent. This not just in front of the camera but even behind the camera. So I think that is a sort of good outcome. And as Dia said, it's for every artist to calibrate how much that they can do genuinely in a year and pull back when they feel that they're sort of burning out. But to have opportunity is a good thing.
That's been a very insightful last note, educational, and I also want to thank all of you for being so open, candid, and it's been very promising, right? We have so much to look forward to. A big round of applause for our panelists today. Thank you so much for joining us.